Hi everybody, welcome. As they say in the army, listen in. Listen in. So we're just carrying on the series prompted by the Liverpool-Tottenham match over the weekend, which is all about when it's all on the line, what is the difference between winners and merely world class at your level? And it prompted by the Liverpool-Tottenham match over the weekend, where Liverpool probably, because of their history, because of their DNA of coming back at the death, you know, the amazing Champions League, when they were out and embarrassed in the first half and came back. And the decade before that, when they kind of took all. For the impartial standing by, if you were to wait, as in heaviness, not time, Liverpool, Tottenham, on the ability to close out and win a tight, pressurised match, even if they weren't talented enough and deserved to do it, against Tottenham, that history and DNA would say they're good in one-off situations. They win the FA Cup. But it's been a long time since they've won the league, and they've always been known to be sort of brittle, really. Brittle's probably being harsh. And Pochettino has been doing over the years is building this resilience and this desire and this belief and the certainty of winning when the only thing there is doubt. And the impartial observer before the match would go, yeah, I would bet on Liverpool than Tottenham. And sure as eggs, come the match. Again, to repeat, Liverpool went 1-0 up. Yeah, were pretty bossing the first half. Tottenham, for all their talent, came back in the second half and equalised. And for a lot of the second half were a little bit more than marginally on top. And then poor old Sissoko, left midfield, was allowed by the very canny central defender, when there was 2 against 1, to run with the ball and run with the ball and run with the ball, and probably had 5 seconds or so for his brain to be talking to him a lot and noisily, and probably he would have been future orientated, so whatever percentage of his brain was in the future, not present. And then with a rush of blood, smashed it over the bar. The season's opportunity probably gone in those 5 seconds. And Liverpool would then, like the professionals they are, would have kind of had a whiff of oxygen. They would have been, yep, the gods are favouring us. This is a sign. You know, because pros, at any age and any level, if you're competitive, you just need a sign. And you make that sign mean something. Yes, kind of we all have it. Yep, the gods are with us. And so Liverpool turned the screw. And then from a relatively hopeful cross in the last few minutes and a decent header, the Tottenham goalkeeper that would have saved this header 9 times out of 10 in practice without thinking, just palmed it away onto the boot of the nearest defender, and it trickled agonisingly over the line. And it would be wrong to say Liverpool closed out and won, but equally valid, their opponent lost it for them. And hey, we don't care, do we? We just look at the scoreboard after the match and for the years to come and see the score. Doesn't care. It's as equally valid to have the winning mentality and the trust method all coming in, bringing inevitable pressure, and either the opposition give it to you or the referee makes the decision in your favour. However it is, you seem to exert your will on the gods. Interesting, isn't it? How this invisible exerting of your will to all the invisible elements seems inevitably to topple it your way. It happens time and time again. So we're exploring this week, well, how do you train for this? Because you can train for it. Yes, you could grow this in your DNA for years and decades. Yes, and that adds to the belief and it adds to the certainty, because when you're in those situations, you individually or collectively say, when we were in that situation last time, we won. When we were in that situation last time, we won. And the more times that happens, the more it builds certainty in the area of doubt that you will find a way to win even if the opposition gives it to you. And the reverse is the case, of course. So one lie, along with the got to be mentally tough lie, is we need to improve our winning shot making or skill technique. Because we all know, at the death, this is like the conductor in front of the orchestra, and the orchestra has been going and it has rise and ebbs and falls, but we all know it builds to a crescendo, and then we finish and the crowd rises to their feet to anoint and adore you. And we kind of think that's what we should be doing. It's just fitting for these type of moments for something extraordinary to happen. It's not fitting that we win without something extraordinary. So we tend to overdo it. Ego kicks in. Mentally, we want the crowd to rise and anoint you as one. And often when we watch matches in tennis, that happens. But what we see is not actually the truth. What we see is something amazing, but it's not something down to extraordinary talent and technique. What it normally is a precise series of actions, some fantastic movement, some intuitive actions happening, and what looks like a simple shot is executed with grace. And also, I would stress, probably that shot sequence, that skills would have been rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. Let's take Andy Murray, Davis Cup final, all that emotion hanging on it, a long point, and Murray under the cosh for most of that point. But we could see he was playing with his opponent like a cat would with a mouse, and he dropped the ball a little bit short, and the opponent saw his chance and came to nail it with a great approach shot. But it was something that Murray has seen and practiced against thousands of times, and out of nowhere, seemingly defensive, seemingly on the ropes, he did that amazing topspin backhand that just nailed the guy at the net, expecting something else, and it bounced agonizingly in, and everybody erupted. The crowd, the team, engulfed him on the court. And to the untrained eye, you would have said that was extraordinary improvised talent. But I'm sure it was not extraordinary improvised talent. It was process that was honed under pressure with that specific 1-2 shot combination on the practice court. So when he had one chance to do it in a match, one chance, then he executed it to perfection. So that's the deception. And that kind of, I think, encourages us to keep looking for that killer technique that we can bring out on a match. And we are governed. I'm just thinking about now. We are governed that when things go wrong in a match, when our second serve doesn't go in, when we serve a double fault, when our first serves are letting us down and not nailing it, when our returner serve and our forehand lets us down under pressure, we think not unnaturally, it's technique, my son. Let's go to the coach and get more technique, because if I can get more consistency in spin and kick on my second serve, if I get an extra 5 or 10 miles an hour on my first serve, if my forehand won't let me down, then I'll win those matches. And the reality, I regret to say, is that's another lie. Peddled by I don't know who, but it is a lie. So consider this. As amateurs, we have nowhere near the talent of the pros, never mind the top 10 or top 4. We have, and I've been quite close to it, we have zero idea how good these guys are. If you played against a top 500 person, you wouldn't get a whiff. And the 500 doesn't get against the 200, the 100, the 40, 10. I have no idea how good these guys are. And these guys train X hours a day, and they have world-class coaches. And we try to have talent. And the more talent we have, the more moving parts we have, the more likely it is to break down under pressure, because under pressure, information comes to you, and there's a lot of information comes to you quicker, but it's flawed. So if we've got a lot going on, we're bound to make more mistakes. And then the more mistakes we have, the more we say we need to be improving our technique. Whereas the reality is we need to beat deselection of technique. We just need to do the fundamentals, the basics, as mastery as possible. And when you understand, according to Mr. Wooten of basketball fame, the world's probably best basketball coach, is that the fundamentals are the fundamentals at every level you are. They stay the same. It's only the speed of the execution of the fundamentals that changes as every level goes up. So we have an axis in the Big Point Player 3D framework, and the first axis, most important axis, the y-axis, is execution. And the training is to go, well, how do you go from mechanical, complex, analytical shot making under pressure through to simple and intuitive? And that is massive, because under pressure we are geared to protect ourselves and therefore go into analytical, frame by frame shot execution. And we know that doesn't work. So my friends, if it was easy as improving talent, that's what we'd focus on, but it's not. And it's 5 things that need to come together at the same time. The trust method. And if you're interested, again, of being this closer, and I found out today about the basketball, they actually have a name for the person in baseball called the closer, who comes in for the last 3 shots, and it's tight, and if the opposition smacks it out the ground, they win, and if the closer closes it down, they win. So everything's on the line. Great name, the closer. So if you don't want to be Sissoko of Tottenham, if you want to be Liverpool, that you know you're going to win, you just don't know how, and this is what you're going to do, and you've got 3 choices: neutralise, set up and hurt. Put the pressure on. If you want to be that person, if you want to be the closer, then hop over to 1 point away where doors shut soon and the training starts, and in 30 days we guarantee you to shift from whatever you tell yourself now to being a big point player, a closer, somebody that when push comes to shove is the gilded one. And it takes something. It takes something. It's a special person to do that, and everybody wants them, not just to be their partner or on the tennis court, but in other areas of life. So hopefully that was useful to you. Let's not have the pursuit of vainness of talent, because talent is a fickle friend that will let you down when you need it the most.